I'm Denise Scott, Executive Vice President at LISC for Programs, and it's my honor and privilege to have this opportunity to celebrate my colleague and friend, Richard Manson. Richard?
Well, thank you so much, Denise. As many of you know, I recently retired as Program Vice President, responsible in part for the oversight of the New York City program. I joined LISC over 39 years ago as part of the original team assembled by Mike Svierdorf, the initial president of LISC, to launch the organization. My responsibilities included being the assistant program officer to its chief operating officer, Sal Chapkin, and to Anita Miller, the initial director of LISC's South Bronx program. LISC initial launch did not include the entire city, but rather focused our attention in the South Bronx. Upon Anita's departure in 1985, I was promoted to serve as the second South Bronx director. Under my tenure, the program established the LISC New York City-wide presence with the launch of the Affordable Housing Production Program with HPD, and eventually the establishment of a full-fledged LISC New York City program under the leadership of Mark Yard.
Richard, your work over the last 40 years has truly helped us to reimagine and reshape community development, not only in New York City, but across the country. So Richard and I met in graduate school a while ago. We won't say how long ago, but we began a journey together that is a lifetime of work and dedication to community development. So Richard, my fond memories of you are the early days when we first met.
For me too, and when we recruited you to LISC, Denise, it was a breath of fresh air for me because, let's be honest, we were the only two city kids in the New York City program. So I knew it was going to be a great journey. Who would have guessed 40 years later we get to celebrate tonight?
I'm sure everybody would love to hear your thinking as you're leaving us at this stage of our work with COVID at the forefront. What are some of the thoughts that you might leave us with?
Well, it is interesting to reflect that many of the problems that COVID and the economic pandemic and the social justice and racial equity issues that are confronting us today were always as part of LISC's mission and the issues of community development 40 years ago. So the principles that I would offer as suggestions going forward are to stay to the course of what community development has always been about, giving voice and resources to those at the ground level, because solutions are best made and decisions for moving forward are best done through locally based solutions. And community organizations and the multiple partners at the neighborhood level over our 40 years of working together with our partners have demonstrated that there is a proven success. We are not making things up as we were a little learning to fly the plane when we started 40 years ago. Assembling resources is still necessary. These resources are not in the community by themselves. There is the talent, the know-how, and the vision, but the dollars and the alignment of external resources are still needed. So the principles of an intermediary such as LISC and our partners across philanthropy, the private sector, and government need the partners that we have helped build up in these communities. And I only hope and look forward to seeing those partners at the ground level leading the charge going forward.
I'm really, truly honored, Richard. I can't tell you enough that the guy who I met with the afro, the only difference today is the color of it. I'm honored that we had this journey together. I'm wishing you all the best as you go forward. And without a doubt, I am certain that I would not have stayed at LISC as long as I did had it not been for your work and your support of me. And so I'm personally grateful to you. And I'm certain that many of the other executive directors and other of your colleagues at LISC, I'm certain I can speak for them and say that they probably hold similar views. So we send you, as you go off on your journey, the next chapter of life. Enjoy it. Don't forget us. And we will, of course, not be able to forget you. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I said it, all of you are family, and while I'm leaving the house, I expect to be still part of the family.